Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to this is ground RP. I'm using aircraft in ground RP. So, I am in the Pe-2-359 and that is a plane. I'm not quite sure if it is still there to be researched, if it has been removed. This plane is fast, like I have achieved in a dive currently over 600, now I'm zooming back because the M18 that I was aiming at, and there you can see the reason why under my wings, well, has been destroyed in my attack run, so I aborted it and did not fire the rockets. However, those myths that there are in War Thunder, they are bizarre sometimes. Sometimes people don't like Kursk and refuse to play it, but then they argue with that map. For example, yeah, the Germans are so great at distance, and I think that Kursk is still one of my favorite maps. But putting that aside, this is myth testing. And people often complain about the strike capabilities of Russian aircraft for CAS. I think that both Japan and Germany are lacking, although Japan is really screwed up. But Japan is, I think, if you go into the Second World War, Japan had never a particular interest in supporting ground troops compared to what they put into effort in naval strike power, islands and such. But the Russians have a real big complement of aircraft that have good striking power. And I'm talking here about rockets that I think are still completely overpowered. They are too strong, and if you look closely, the rocket that hit the Sherman actually didn't hit it directly. It was a very close miss, but the splash of those big 132mm rockets was enough to kill him. So here I killed the Hellcat. I did not aim correctly. Those rockets are mounted very far off center, and you actually have to aim a bit like with the Sky Raider, and that is you have to aim with one wing and have to account for one of the rockets to hit. I have to retest it if the convergence point plays a role for the guns. And speaking of guns, the Pe-2-359s have not the heaviest of armament, despite sometimes being called heavy fighters, but Russian machine guns are enough. Third kill against an F6, F5. And there we have something weird in the river, and well, I killed this LVT. So that was my fourth kill. And this is now CAS in 3 minutes. That was 3 minutes of pure attack run, and I have 2 rockets left, so 1 strike run. At this point, you could argue I should bail out and go into the match with a fresh Pe-2 because I have acquired enough, or I collected enough spawn points to get into a new Pe-2 for sure. The problem is, I think this approach of pure lineups is still a bit strange, even when you talk about the inequivalencies between the nations. The Germans have ground attackers, don't get me wrong, but they are difficult to use. And I think the rocket exploded on top of the very well protected turret of this Jumbo Sherman. Just a critical hit. He's probably screwed over for the rest of the match. And I'm going back to the airfield. And the Pe-2 has amazing capabilities when it comes to the variety of its striking power. I actually spaded the Pe-2s in arcade by hunting bombers with rockets where they had an amazing reload rate of just 30-40 seconds, something like this. I can't recall the exact reload number. I think it's 30 seconds for an ace crew, something like that. So, the Pe-2s. What we have here directly, just for the Pe-2-359, are 2 machine guns, a 112.7 Baratin UB machine gun with 150 rounds, and one 7.62mm CAS machine gun with 450 rounds. that's better than nothing. Then you have defensive gunners, 2 turrets with 12.7s and 2 turrets with 7.62s, but there are a few dorsal gunners which are not that effective. However, this is practically a medium bomber that has a flight model when it comes to maneuverability overall that is equivalent to a Focke-Wulf, and you have 5 rocket strikes. 5, and those are big rockets. We're talking about the RS-132 rockets that are notorious for one-shotting enemies. The Germans also have rockets that are notorious for one-shotting them or enemy tanks, but they just have one launch and then that's it. So you have 500% of the striking power when it comes to rockets than you have with Germans with their rockets. Yes, there is the Pe-2-359 F2, but forget about those tiny rockets. I mean, if those rockets are equivalent, then let's talk about all the Russian fighters that have like 8 rockets, beginning with the lags, I guess, at 2.0. So that the Russians have bad striking power is a pure myth. They can't really challenge the British with their combination of Griffin Spitfires with rockets, and also the Americans are quite good and then can go into fighter mode, but that doesn't say that the Russians can't do that either. The Germans most of the time rely on 30mm MK108s. MK103s. They are notoriously inaccurate. They have also a limited amount of ammunition. It's not sure that you do critical strikes or one-shots in them, and you have to get close. And then there are the scuffed German flight models, which, at the end of the day you land in a building or a tree because you can't pull up, because German elevator / instructor / flight models, whatever. So, I tried it with the Germans, I had success, and both the message of the previous match in the Gepard, the low tier 1, in a 5.7/6.3 battle, and this match here, granted it's around about the same battle rating, yeah indeed it's 4.7. Well, the thing is this, you can use planes that don't look like they're good, but they are good. So just give them a chance, especially the Pe-2s. They are not that amazing in air RB, but they are pretty good in ground forces. Now let's have a quick look at the results, and those were purely the income from the Pe-2, aside from the 1 cap that I had in the KV-1S. S stands for Sport, because it's ridiculously fast. Still on a loss, 2,800 research points, being first in place. And there are the modifications for the KV-1S and the T-34E in the previous battle. So now let's have a quick look at the Pe-2s and where to find them. So let's go to aviation, and now there are also the Su-2s, fantastic little planes. Then we also have the IL-2s, the Pe-2s, the Pe-2-3s also have at least 3 strikes. I'm not really sure what the difference between the RBS rockets are and the RS rockets, but here you can see this is the first time in a long time that I actually had a look at them, so new modifications are available for those planes. And even with the Pe-2-3s, you have 3 big strikes. Now you might argue, yeah, those planes are vulnerable to AAA. Okay, which plane isn't? A very well played AAA can make hell. Then there is also the Pe-2-3 that has those RS and RBS rockets. There is the Pe-2-359, which also has 10. So you can have a very good lineup of pure rocket ground attackers at various different BRs. So please stop complaining about Russian CAS. Yes, they don't have the combination of ridiculously good fighters with rockets and such premium vehicles like the Wyvern, like the British have, but the British are too good, especially when we compare it to the Axis. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm very interested in your opinion. And please answer me the questions if the Pe-2s are still available for research, because I don't know. My account is very old. I researched the Russian and German planes very early on, so I have a lot of planes in my hangar that other players didn't have the opportunity to research. Please answer the questions which planes are still there to research. And as usual, please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we will see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.